What's up guys, welcome back to the build series. Today we're going to be installing the aux beam 42-inch 6-mode light bar on the Colorado, along with the
aux beam 8-gang switch panel.
Now, so if you know anything about the Colorados, there's no holes in the roof. So you can't really install anything unless you want to drill plus nuts or something like that, which I don't really want to do. My truck's still under warranty. This thing wasn't cheap, and I don't want to drill holes in it. So we're doing this a little different. I'm putting magnets on it. These magnetic light bars are decent, I guess. I've heard mixed reviews, but you're gonna find out. I'm gonna be building a little quick release harness in it so I can pop it on and off whenever I want, which might be kind of nice. But that's basically what we're gonna do to remedy the problem that there's no holes in the roof of this damn thing. Probably just buy a Tacoma if you're planning on doing something. I found this out after, kind of pissed about it still. All right, so like we said before, here's what we got. This is the 42-inch 6-mode aux beam light bar. This thing will do amber and it will do white, which is what I was looking for. We have our magnetic light bar mounts here. These are just gonna go onto the edge of this, and that's gonna hold that in place. Next up, we have our 8-gang switch panel here. This is the aux beam one as well, along with our secondary fuse box. As you can see, I do have a few of the connections made just for the sake of the video to make things a little bit easier to explain. I also have a 100-piece connection set because chances are I'm probably gonna need these at some point. And a bunch of waterproof connections as well so that I can make the quick release for the light bar from the wiring harness so that I don't have to have it on all the time. That is gonna be the pros of it being magnetic. And then I have my wiring harness for the light bar, which I'm gonna chop all apart and make my own wiring harness so I can do it like this. This is a pretty straightforward process, actually. It probably sounds more complex than it really is. Maybe it is complex and I'm just an idiot and I'm gonna mess it all up. That's probably more likely. Wire hider here, which is gonna run down the A-pillar. And other than that, that's about all you're gonna need to do this. This is a pretty straightforward thing. I've already tested it out, it works. Damn it. All right. Okay, so that's kind of what it's gonna look like here. These are the magnetic mounts, and this is just gonna sit like right above the windshield there. So these magnets are pretty strong. People say that they can go up to like 100 miles per hour on them and they stay on. Probably won't be doing 100 miles per hour just because I have a tent and everything else on, and I actually do enjoy having my license still. So anyways, this should just kind of clip on here like this. Yeah, I mean, line it up later, but I don't think it's going anywhere. Fuck, damn. I think I trust these things. Knock my damn teeth out with this thing. So I'm gonna have the wire come out on the right side here because this is where the battery is. I'm probably gonna trim this up a little bit. Probably wanna make the connection like right about here. So I'll probably trim this and splice it down about here. But we're gonna do the rest of it and figure that out last so I don't cut this too short. Okay, so we took our fuse box cover off here. We're gonna be using fuse 73. This is the one for the arrow shutter. This seems to be the one that's everyone's using because it cuts power when the truck is off, so it shouldn't kill your battery. So I'm gonna be tapping my fuse tap into there, putting my arrow shutter into here, and that's basically what we're gonna do. We might have to notch this fuse box a little bit so we don't pinch the wire, because that would probably be a problem. And I don't really know quite how I'm gonna do that. Probably gonna heat up a razor blade or something and just notch it up quick. But let's pull that out. So GM does give you a little fuse puller here, which I guess is kind of nice. Ford doesn't do that. Found that out the other day. These things are kind of a pain in the ass to get out of here, to be honest, but little finesse and just slide out like that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my fuse tap. This already has a fuse in it. And so I'm gonna take this 10 amp fuse from my arrow shutter. I'm gonna pop it in, and that's just gonna sit right next to the existing fuse that's already in the fuse tap. I'm gonna slot that right down in there. And there you go. That's gonna be your first step to wiring it up. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just marking kind of where I'm gonna have to cut. So it's gonna be like, you know, right about here. So I'm just gonna heat this blade up a little bit just so it cuts through the plastic nicely. I'm just gonna make a tiny little wedge, like pie shape thing in there, just big enough for the wire to pass through. All right, so as you can see, I just notched that ever so slightly. Wire comes right out of it. That actually works really well. This should still be pretty much watertight for the most part. So we're mounting this thing up. I was gonna do it with duct tape temporarily for the video and not tell anyone, but that didn't really work. Duct tape wouldn't stick to this. So I ran to the dollar store and I got some double-sided picture framing tape. And hopefully this actually sticks. So we're just gonna layer down here. Better get this right, because I can't lift it back up. We're hanging the back ever so slightly. Shit.
Unstickable plastic.
All right, that's gonna have to do for now. I don't know about that. Might need to get like some real 3M stuff instead of dollar store grade, but that's just gonna be what it is for now. So I'm sitting in here editing that video there. This doesn't work, okay? The regular 3M stuff doesn't work either, the real jelly stuff. I've tried cleaning it off with isopropyl alcohol. I've tried rubbing alcohol, whatever it may be, to try to clean the surface. If there's a coating or some nonsense on it, I cannot get this damn fuse box to stick. I'm having the same issue with the plastic parts on the inside of the car. Tried cleaning it, nothing works. If someone in the comments can let me know how the hell I can get stuff to stick to it, I would seriously appreciate it, because right now it's pretty janky. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're just gonna wire into our secondary fuse tap here. This is gonna be a red wire. You're just gonna fish it down in here and then clamp it shut. Crimp her down. That.
You heat shrink it?
I don't think it's heat shrink. It's not heat shrink. So I am just taping this just because I don't really trust the waterproofing of these connections. And who knows, I might be railing this thing through some big mud puddles or something. Last thing I want to do is just like fry my ECU because water got in there. We're going to take this and just feed it up through the back. This is like a wire pass-through slot that is on it, which is super nice. And it's going to clip right into your ACC one here. This is the 2-pin connector. There's a 2 and a 4. So what I'm doing here, since I'm using the aux beam 8-gang switch controller there, I'm actually just cutting off the switch that's gonna come with this Lightbar because I don't need it. I'm using my own switches. So I'm gonna cut this as close to it as I can so I can have as much as possible. So now that we've cut this apart, I really hope that this works because I can't return this at this point, so oh well. So what I've done is I've just stripped down all of these leads here. So I have exposed wire, and this is what I'm going to wire up into the top of my light bar. And this is where I'm gonna make my connection. So we're gonna do that now. I need a 3-pin connector. So what we did up here was just make a simple 3-pin connection, but this is actually a super nice idea because I can just remove the light bar whenever I want. And this is just a really easy, quick release little snap in like that. So I can pull this thing on and off at all times. I do have a little plug I made, which is just an empty one where the back end is completely sealed off. So if I don't want the light bar up there and I don't want water in there, I can just pop this right in.
All right, guys, so we got this wire ran from the light bar all the way down the A-pillar. We got it tucked up nicely in here. We'll zip tie all this excess and put it out of the way later. But now it's time to actually connect it to our fuse panel here. So since this light bar has multiple modes, it comes with this yellow wire. So our red and black are gonna go into channel 1, just, you know, red to positive, black to negative. And then for our mode wire, the yellow wire, we're actually gonna put that into the positive of channel 2.
Okay, so now we're hooking this up to the battery here. We started filming because we had some sparking, which was hairy to say the least. But we should be fine. Negative terminal is now disconnected. And we're tightening up the positive here, which is powering our switch panel and our secondary fuse box. How bad is it if you get a car battery, do you know? I mean, they use car batteries to torture people in movies and they don't die.
I think there's enough to kill you.
So now we're hooking up the 4-pin connector here. This is what's gonna run through the firewall into the truck and attach to our actual switch panel box there. I'm good to touch that, right?
I think so. Like, usually when it sparks, it doesn't get you. Like whenever I've cut like live wires and stuff where it sparks, like, it doesn't get me. But if I ever like touch 2 things I'm not supposed to touch, then it runs through your chest.
Okay, so now we're just gonna reattach our negative terminal here. Damn it! So here are all your battery connections that I just did. I have the positive wire going to the positive terminal of the battery, which comes down into our relay, which I do just have tucked down in here. I don't have a better place for it. And then my negative is just to that ground right there. This is just the factory ground coming right off of the negative terminal of the battery. which is going directly into our fuse panel here. Okay, so now we should be all hooked up everywhere. I'm going to turn the truck on and attach the actual switch controller, which has all the buttons, that thing right there, and it should be backlit and our light bar should work. So all we have right now is everything hooked up the way it's gonna go, except for this running into the cab of the truck. So we tested it out, it does work. If you watch, that's gonna turn on our white light bar. And then this one here, our number 2, this is our mode button. So everything does work. This is a good step. For running your cable from your fuse box to your actual switch controller inside there, the way I did it was I just popped a small hole through the grommet there and fed it right through. I know people have tried to stick it through the right side of that grommet, but I just couldn't get it. I didn't want it pinching the wire. So I just drilled a little hole right through there. You can see it. And that's still pretty tight. It's pretty waterproof. I'm not worried about that at all. And then if you come around to the inside of the truck, you just have to pull this carpeting back and it is right in there. And then I ran the wire up under this carpet and underneath my center console. This is super easy. You can just fish that through. You honestly don't need a wire snake or anything crazy like that. So we're inside the truck now. I just have the light controller here. It's just sitting in the middle. For some reason, double-sided tape will not stick to anything. None of these surfaces. Cleaned them with rubbing alcohol. I don't know, so that's gonna be solved at a later date. But what I did was I just routed the cable right up here. It actually tucks pretty nicely right in here. So I'll just show you how it works quick. So we have our on switch here, which is our number 1. So if you see, I have it on amber. Now if I press number 2 here, so we're gonna change modes. So there's white and amber, flashing white, flashing amber, flashing white, then flashing amber, and now back to solid white. So those are our 6 modes like that. And I'm just gonna leave that in there for now, I guess. So here we're driving just regular high beams and then light bar. So this definitely makes a big difference for the sides and up above. I wouldn't say it gives you a whole lot of range in the front, but it certainly gives you a really wide spread. All right guys, so that's gonna do it right there. That's the 42-inch light bar mounted up on the Colorado and the aux beam 8 gang switch panel mounted up as well. It was a relatively easy install. Drilling through the firewall part, you're actually drilling through like this big rubber grommet because we could not figure out a way to make it fit reusing the same grommet. It's just too tight of a fit. Maybe other people can figure that out. I sure as hell can't. But I'm super stoked on how this came out. This works pretty well. All the modes and everything's super cool. So I'm excited to see what this thing can do at night. I'll include some night driving shots. You've probably already seen them by now.
But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe, help get our new channel off the ground. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.